Hi everyone, welcome to my video of summer book recommendations as well as my summer TBR, because I have a lot of books that I want to read that are summer related, and I think that I should just add these in because they might also be really good recommendations for you. I just don't know 100% if I'm going to like them yet, but I feel like I'm getting better at like curating my own TBRs and making sure that I'm going to like them. I feel like I have a good gauge of whether I'm going to like a book or not. I haven't had a really bad read since like January, and it's July, so was it January? Yeah, January. So I'm gonna go ahead and get started and show you the list of books that I have read that I recommend to you guys, and then we'll move into my TBR. My first recommendation is any book by Emily Henry, literally any of them. I don't remember what time of year Book Lovers is set in, and I just recently read Funny Story, and I don't remember if either of these were really set in summer, but I still feel like there's something that you can definitely read in summer. And they're just a good like beachy read, whatever. I don't have Beach Read by her in this stack because my best friend is borrowing it, but regardless, they're all amazing, including Beach Read, which is why she's recommending, which is why she's borrowing it, because she's going on a trip to a beach in like a week or like a couple days actually, and so she's borrowing it. But any of these are amazing summer reads, and if you've never read them, highly recommend. Also, if you're wondering how I have the paperback of this, it's because it's the large print, so I'm not blind as a bat. I just hate hardcover. I'm eventually, I think, going to replace this with the paperback version and get rid of that one and like donate it or something, or like give it to a friend. But you can see this is a little bit different in sizing, so I just like holding a paperback a little better. My next recommendation, which is so highly recommended by me, is literally anything by Carly Fortune. I am missing her third book that just released, I think in April or May. I think it was April. I read that, devoured it, absolutely loved it. One of my first, I wouldn't say it's my first, it's one of my very few 5-star reads of the year. Like I said, I have been having a lot of good reads that I'm loving, and I haven't had a lot of bad ones, but most of them I feel like have been like around a 4-star, which is really good for the way I rate things. But I've given, I think I gave this 5 stars. I gave this probably like a 4, and then the other book was a 5. If I could go higher, I would. Love that book, and I want to go to where the book is set so badly. If you've read it, you know. With that being said, I say this one's a 4. It is my least favorite, but I still loved it. When I was in the moment of reading it, I loved it. So definitely give Carly Fortune a try. She is an auto-buy author for me. Like, I will pre-order her books every time. I just freaking love her writing, and I just love it. They're perfect for summer. Not only does this one have summer in the name, so does the third one, which I believe is called This Summer Will Be Different. I loved it. Next we have one that is a little beat up. There's literally a hole in the cover. I don't remember how that happened. I took this on a cruise with me in January, and January is not summer, but I read this on the cruise, so that's kind of like giving vacation warm weather vibes. And I don't even think this is set in the summer, but it's one of those ones where you just like feel the vibes, and it's like the perfect beachy, it's not beachy, I don't know why I keep saying that, but like it's the book you want to read on a beach for some reason. That's just what I think of it as. Like, it's so like full of depth, and it's just so beautiful. With that being said, I do not recommend the movie. This was turned into a movie I think like a couple years ago, and I hated it. I loved this book. I watched the movie like I think 2 or 3 months after I read this, and I was like holding this up on the highest pedestal, and then the movie came out and I watched it, and I had high hopes. I'm like, oh, it's gonna be so good. It sucked. I hated it. No offense to the people who made that movie, but it did not come close to this at all. And I also feel like I'm not usually one to say like, oh, the book was better. I truthfully usually love movies that are made after books. This one, not so much. The acting was not it, but this book was it. And pretty much anything by Taylor Jenkins Reid. Oh, I didn't grab that one. It's up on my shelf. Malibu Rising by her as well. If you're not into like a super romantic book, you want more of like a fiction, lots of characters, lots of plot, read Malibu Rising. I loved that book. And the cover is beautiful. It's so good. My next recommendation is The On Honeymooners by Christina Lauren. Also going hand in hand with this, The Paradise Problem, which just released last month. I read that. Absolutely loved it. 10 out of 10 recommend. I think I gave it like, if I'm finicky, I would say 4.5 stars. My best friend is also borrowing that one for her trip, so I don't have that to hold in my hand here, but definitely look into them. They, it's actually 2 people. They have another book out that is also, I think it's Something Wilder. Is that what it is? That's also kind of beachy, but I have never read it, so I can't give you like a review on it or anything. This one's so good though. This was one of the very first ones I read while getting back into reading. I read like probably 3 or 4 books, and this was like my 4th or 5th, and I absolutely loved it. I laughed all throughout it. There's good banter. It's like vacation-y. I think it's like on an island. Very good. Definitely recommend. The next physical book that I have to recommend, I think it's the last one because my best friend's borrowing a bunch of them, and I've donated a lot, and I've left some on my shelf apparently. I have One Italian Summer by Rebecca Searle. I love Rebecca Searle. I absolutely love her writing. I say that after only reading 2 of her books, but I plan to read all of like her releases that come out after this. I have one. I don't think it's set in the summer, so it's not in this video, but this was so good. In the moment, I wasn't super like, wow, this is so good, I can't put it down. But then after reading it, I was constantly thinking about it and thinking about how beautifully written it was, how like different of a story it was. I was gonna say how like differently it was written, but like just I don't know. There were so many aspects of it that made me love this book afterwards. So give it a shot. If you're not loving it even while you're reading it, finish it, sit with it for a little bit, and then tell me how much you loved it after, because it was so good thinking back on it. I don't have all of the physical copies on me, like I said, but I'm on my Bookly right now, and I'm just going to show you the covers of some that I think are worth mentioning. One being Shipped by Angie Hockman. That is the cover right there. And if you saw, that was my cat. If you did see the amount of stars at the bottom, I did give it 3 stars. Not for lack of liking it, but I think it just was like, it was a palate cleanser for me. I had just finished, I think it was a quart of Silver Flames, and I just needed something quick and light and easy to read, and that's what that was. And it was very fun to read, very fast for me. If I'm not liking a book, I'm not gonna read it fast. So I'm telling you right now, it's very fast read. It's so fun, and I definitely recommend it for the summer, especially if you're going on a cruise. If you're going on a cruise, even if you're like not using this like these recommendations for the summer, like let's say you're going on vacation and you want a good book, Shipped by Angie Hockman. Very fun. If you're looking for something smutty, My Killer Vacation. I didn't love it. I gave it 3 stars. It wasn't like a amazing read for me, but I'm not a super like smutty person when it comes to a book. I like a little sprinkled in there, but this was pretty heavily written. I don't know how to explain that. But it's like set on the beach, so and it's like vacation vibes. So that could be a fun one if you're looking for like one that's like smutty. This recommendation is going to be a little controversial because I know a lot of people don't like this author. I personally don't like her anymore. I just think her writing style I've kind of veered away from, and there's a lot more authors that I like a lot more than her. But I did love Heartbones. This is one of my favorite books of hers, if not my favorite. So I definitely think you should give it a shot if you are like YA reading, you don't want a ton of smut. And it was a quick read for me. Anything by her is a very quick read for me. I don't usually take that long to finish a book by her, but like I said, I like a little bit more of a literary romance now, which I feel like Emily Henry gives me. So with that being said, everybody has preferences. And if you do like Colleen Hoover books, or you've read like one or two of them and you know you like her books, but you haven't read this one and you're looking for a summer read, definitely the recommendation for you. I read Good Girl Complex by Elle Kennedy at the beach like 2 years ago. Here's more of a close-up. What did I give it? 3 stars. Like 3 or 4. I would say like 3.5 stars. It wasn't my most favorite book and it didn't really stick with me, but it was a very good read if you're like on the beach, because like it shows her on the beach. I think she's like at a college that's like coastally near the coast, pretty sure. That is all of the ones that I've read that I can currently think of and remember to like recommend to you. I am, however, reading The Last Letter by Rebecca Yarros right now on my Kindle. I'm actually buddy reading it with one of my best friends and I'm loving it. And I think what kind of made me think, okay, it's a summer read, I'm gonna read it, is because it's on the beach. Like, this is like sand. It's actually a lake, I think, because of like what context clues in the book. It's like set at a lake. So it's not super summery and it's not necessarily set in the summer. In the current part that I'm reading, it is summer. I think it's like June or July right now, or August maybe, either way. It is a very good read for summer. Like if you're wanting to take one to the beach, it's a cute cover. It's not gonna look like crazy and have people all over it. So there's that. It does look a little bit more mature and it's been a very interesting read so far. I'm really anxious to see where it goes. I think I'm like 65% through. So definitely recommend this book. Let's get into my summer TBR. I only have like July and August left. That's not much time. So I'm a little stressed out because I have a huge stack of books and I'm still practically in the middle of this. So we'll see how the rest of the summer goes. But I'm gonna go through this list. This is not in any particular order. It's just ones that I think I want to read this summer. Number 1 is really only by the cover. I don't know what time of year it's set in, but the cover gives me like a humid summer night vibe. I don't know. I believe it's on a lake. It looks like it's on a lake. It could be an ocean, I guess. Either way. Coastal town of Alden, Maine. So either way. It is, I'm going to assume, just like fiction. It's not, doesn't seem like a romance. Doesn't seem like anything super lovey. But I do love a good like standard fiction every now and then. So I'm excited to read this. Next, I have Ellen Hildebrand. I've never read a book by her and I keep hearing really good things. I have heard some bad things. If you know, you know. But I've never read any books by her and I actually did not hear anything bad about her until after I bought this book. Otherwise I probably would have thought more about it, but I still want to know what the hype is because I know a lot of people do love her. So I got the 5-star weekend. It says 5 friends, 5 secrets, a vacation that will change everything. I feel that it's not going to be heavy romance. That it's more going to be like friendship and drama. So hopefully I love it because I'm 50-50 on whether I want to like her books or not because of the controversy that I've heard. Maybe I don't want to like her books. I don't know. Give me your opinion on her in the comments, especially if you've read a book. Let me know what you think. Next, I have The Summer of Broken Rules by K.L. Walther. The idea of this sounds so flippin' fun. And I think it sounds more like a YA romance, so I don't think that there's anything like smutty in here. So if you're like in your like late teens and you want a romance, but you don't want to read a lot of smut, this might be for you. Of course, I've never read it, so don't take that to fully without a grain of salt, you know? I don't know. Just... Next, I have Flawless by Elsie Silver. I have heard so much hype about Elsie Silver in general, and then mostly about this series. I just need to do it. I need to read it, and it's not necessarily, I don't think it's set in the summer. Doesn't say on the back, but I just feel like it gives me summer vibes. I don't know. The pink, maybe spring, summer. I don't really know. really want to read it. Very excited to see what all of the hype is about. So if you love it, convince me to put this at the top of the TBR, because currently my mind is veering towards the next author I'm going to talk about. That author is Abby Jimenez. I have only read technically one of her books, technically two, if you count her short story that she wrote with Amazon Original Short Stories. But I loved the first one, and I really want to read Just for the Summer, so I want to read all of her other books before I get to that. So first one is the Happy Ever After playlist, and when my best friend and I started The Last Letter, I started it before her, and I was trying to let her catch up, and she's like, I still haven't finished my last book. So like, I'm like, oh my god, what am I gonna do? Like, I decided to get a little bit of a head start on this book, and I'm 28 pages through it, and I'm just gonna try and pick up where I left off once I finish this book, because what was it called? Just for the Summer. Duh. That is like very high on my TBR for the summer. So hopefully I can finish all of her books before like the end of August. I'd be okay with September. I feel like early September is still pretty warm where I'm from, so we'll go with it. Wrong pile. Next would be Life's Too Short. This is the third book in the Friend Zone series, and I've heard like the least amount that will talk about literally every other book she's written. Not so much this one. So I'm excited to have my own little opinion on it and see what it's about. Anyways, there's that. The next one is the beginning of the Part of Your World series, which I'm more excited about than either of those, although I am really excited about Sloane's story. If you've read The Friend Zone, you know what I mean by that. Part of Your World, I've heard so many good things about, and I cannot wait to devour this. It also has a goat on the cover, and I'm pretty sure the goat is somewhere in the story. She likes to include an animal in all of her books, I've heard, especially dogs. So I'm hoping there's a cat somewhere in one of these books, because I love all animals, but I have 2 cats, and I just would love to read one that included a cat. Next is Yours Truly. Not looking like I'm getting that cat, at least by this book, because there's a dog right here. A really cute one. It looks like maybe like a Bernese Mountain Dog. That'd be really funny if I was correct, because I'm not really that good with dog breeds. Regardless, I've heard even more good stuff about Yours Truly. Like, people say this is like one of their favorite books ever, their favorite romance. I'm very excited to read this. So this is not necessarily like a summer recommendation, nor have the last like 4 been, but that's because I don't know what they're about. So I would go ahead and say though that like you could read this in the summer and it's gonna be fine, because typically like a general contemporary romance is fun to read while you're on the beach. So there's that. And lastly, we have Just for the Summer. Another dog. I'm gonna write her a DM. Like, message her, can you put a cat in one of your stories? Just one cat, please. She must hate cats, I'm assuming. There was a dog in the Friend Zone, there was a dog in her Amazon short story, and there's a dog on every one of these covers except for Part of Your World. That is a goat. Actually, I don't remember looking at the cover of this one. Dog. Can you see it? Little puppy. Point being, she likes goats and dogs. So maybe her next book, maybe next year, we'll have a cat. Fingers crossed. But I am most excited about this, and I am going to recommend this for the summer because I've heard a million, trillion, zillion things about this and about how amazing it is, and how it like connects all of the characters from even, I think, from the first series as well. So this is part of the Part of Your World series, but apparently people from the Friend Zone series also show up in here a little bit. So I'm all about it. I cannot wait to read it. So with that being said, that is the last book on my very long list of TBR to finish by the end of August or early September if I'm being generous. Pray for me. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope it gave you some good recommendations of books maybe that you haven't heard of. Maybe you have heard of them and you've been wanting like another kind of nudge to read these books, I'm giving it to you. Go read some books. Definitely try out some Carly Fortune if you've never read her, and 100% try out Emily Henry. If you've not read an Emily Henry book, you're severely missing out. Just do it. Read a book. Read a book. And if you're also watching this and you don't read very often, or you haven't read like since high school, I hate that like comment people make when they say, oh, I haven't read since high school. Do it. Pick up a book. I truthfully 100% stand by the fact that if you haven't read a book, or if you say you don't enjoy reading, it's probably because you haven't read what you actually would enjoy. You were forced to read in high school, usually what your teacher picks for you. Now you have the reign to like you have the choice to choose. I didn't get a lot of sleep last night. Bear with me. You can choose whatever book you'd like, whatever genre you'd like, whatever tropes you'd like, and just read it. I guarantee you'll find something that you like along the way if you just kind of like dip your toes into a little bit of everything. The only thing I don't think I've ever dipped my toes into is like sci-fi. So there you go. Maybe I'll dip my toes into that. Give me some sci-fi recommendations. And we'll branch out together. Regardless, this is the end of the video because I'm just rambling at this point. I hope you liked it. I hope I gave you some good recommendations. I'm a broken record right now. Thanks for watching. Have a good day.